The debt wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was a physical weight pressing down on Elias, a promise of violence he could feel in the recycled air of the hub. He could almost see the flat, pitiless eyes of the Hyperion Mineral Group's enforcers, men who moved with the cold efficiency of the asteroid mines they once managed. They were a patient, brutal arm of the Saturn Confederation, and their patience was measured in hours, not days. He had one last, desperate option, and it lived somewhere deep in the city's gut. He left the vibrant, beautiful mess of the hub behind, descending a narrow, slick staircase into the oppressive darkness of the Warrens. The transition was absolute. The symphony of a dozen languages was replaced by the low hum of failing machinery and the unnerving drip of water from unseen pipes. The architecture here wasn't designed. It was carved from necessity and decay, a claustrophobic maze of scarred plasteel, exposed bedrock, and the colossal, skeletal remains of forgotten industry. Elias clutched the strap of his satchel, his knuckles white. He was a creature of the hub's semi-legitimate chaos. Down here, he was prey. His destination was a nameless workshop in a dead-end corridor, its entrance marked only by a faded, rust-red handprint on a sheet of corrugated metal. He knocked twice, then once. A heavy slit slid open, revealing a pair of dark, ancient eyes that appraised him with unnerving stillness. "Go away. I'm not working." "I have the full price. I was told—" The door slid open with a groan. The man inside was old, his face a roadmap of wrinkles, his thin frame draped in a simple gray tunic. He was Zaid, the silversmith. He didn't invite Elias in, merely blocking the entrance. His gaze was hard. "The price is irrelevant. Look." Zaid pointed a bony finger toward a dusty shelf inside his workshop. Lying there, glinting dully in the gloom, was a silver disc, cracked almost perfectly in half. "Tell me what you see." Elias squinted. It was a test. He knew it. This was more than a transaction. "A mistake?" he ventured. "Foolish. Look again." Elias's heart hammered. He looked past the object to what it represented. The debt, the fear, the men from HMG. The hope that this old man was selling. The hope that had clearly failed for someone else. "It's a ghost," Elias said, his voice barely a whisper. "Someone who thought a lie could save them and found out it couldn't." The old man was silent for a long moment, his eyes searching Elias's face. Finally, he gave a slow, weary nod and stepped aside. "HMG hounds are predictable, but they are thorough. They will not stop." He gestured to a stool. "Sit." Elias stumbled inside. The workshop was a stark contradiction to the filth outside, a small, clean, meticulously organized space that smelled of ozone and hot metal. A single focused worklight illuminated a bench covered with tools that looked more like surgical instruments. Elias pulled the bundle of low-denomination credit chits from his satchel. As Zaid reached out, he saw it, a faint, persistent tremor in the old man's fingers. Zaid consciously stilled his hand as he took the chits, a mask of pure control settling over his features. He fed them into a scanner. "The price has not changed, but the cost is always higher than you think." He gestured for Elias to stay put. "This will take time. Precision is not a thing to be rushed." Elias watched, mesmerized as the old man began his work. The tremor was gone, replaced by a terrifying focus. He placed a tiny, dull gray wafer on an induction plate. It glowed, first red, then white-hot. With delicate tongs, he moved it to a micropress, the machine stamping it with an intricate pattern. He then used a magnetic stylus to weave microscopic data filaments into the chit substrate. This wasn't just data. It was identity, a clean, untraceable biosignature, a flawless transaction history, a ghost of 1,000 legitimate purchases. He was sculpting a lie so perfect it would pass for truth. "They believe their system is absolute," Zaid murmured, not looking up. He held the chit under a focused particle beam, the air hissing as its surface was tempered. This, he held up the finished chit, now gleaming with a soft silver luminescence. This has weight. It has a soul, a false one, but a soul nonetheless. He handed the chit to Elias. It felt cool and impossibly smooth. It will pass any scan, Zaid said, turning back to his bench. He flicked his eyes toward the cracked disc on the shelf. That was for a boy who forgot he was carrying a lie. He started to believe it was real. That's when it broke. Don't be that boy. Elias couldn't speak. He nodded, slipped the chit into a hidden pocket, and stumbled back out into the oppressive darkness. The air was still claustrophobic, the shadows still menacing. But the fear that had frozen his blood was gone, replaced by something colder. He held the power to erase his debt, but he also held the ghost of the boy who failed, and the knowledge of the old man's shaking hands. In a city of layers, he had descended to the bottom to purchase a ticket back to the middle, and he knew, with chilling certainty, that he was leaving a part of himself behind in the rust and the dark, a price that wasn't measured in credits,